to win this war that is non-conventional, we need numbers, we need technology, we need equipment, we need funding, which has not been met. So if you don't have this at the disposal of whoever you give him the responsibility, how can you blame him? Now, I said, we lost, within the space of time, 18 plus 24, that is 42 soldiers. If they had the necessary Air Force cover, or they had necessary equipment like drone, because if you have a drone, you want to go to the villa from here, you can send the drone to go and come back in a few minutes and tell you how safe that place is. And if there's any object or any movement there, to clearly show you. They don't have this. They went, like the Katsina's case, they went around and they were ambushed. The Nigerian army were ambushed in Damboa Maiduguri Road. So how can you blame such people that sacrifice their life to go that and blame them on their inefficiency or anything? So that is my position on it. If you have given these people what they need, then we can start apportioning blames. This motion is the Senate's decision. That is one. And two, you know I will not be scared of calling a spade a spade. We are talking about Nigerian army, please. We are talking about officers and troops in the field. I'm not talking about individual. Anybody can lead the Nigerian army. In fact, the Nigerian, since this war, it was only in March that the chief of army staff relocated and stayed in the theater for 2 months. But all this while, for 10, 11 years, it is our gallant troops who sacrificed their lives that have been there in the war front. What is important is the war, not the individual. The commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces is Mr. President, who has a mandate for 4 years now. Will you change him? So I leave it like that. Anyway, if that is the case, I was not in the Senate then. I went to pray, and it was not in my original prayers. And as the motion came on the floor of the Senate, and a senator moved, and then it was seconded, that is that is the work of the legislature. But as I said, I was not there when that prayer was added. So I want you to take note of that. Casualties in the Nigerian army recently and other security agencies. Then the second one is the Nigerian Army University bill, which I sponsored, and it went through third reading today. That means it has been passed, and I'm sure my colleagues on the other side, that is the House of Rep, will concur to it. And we also hope that Mr. President will, as soon as possible, sign it into law. So let me go back by starting with the motion. The motion became necessary because of recent, just maybe 2 weeks, in the interval of 2 weeks, in Damboa Maiduguri axis, that is in my constituency, last 2 weeks we lost 24 soldiers to an ambush by the Boko Haram. 19 were wounded and 9 were missing, but recoveries were made. I think the 9 soldiers have been recovered. The number of civilian casualties is not exactly known. And you know, recently again in Katsina, where we have the Nigerian army deployed to address the issue of banditry, also about 18 or to 20, about 20 or thereabout soldiers, including, I understand, the major, captain, and the lieutenant, were ambushed and killed by the bandits along that axis. And also, we have some number of casualties in other areas, which is not known to us. Well, we discussed in the Senate and with the Senate President, and we felt that, one, these our fallen heroes need to be recognized and need to be appreciated. and also need to, anytime we have death among the members of the National Assembly or important personality in the country, we observe a minute silence in honor. And in our own case, even as senators, we even stand down plenary for that day. So that we felt that we should observe a minute silence, which we did in honor of the fallen heroes. Secondly, the Senate also resolved to urge the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, procure the necessary equipment and gadgets that will make the Nigerian Army more operationally effective. Because if, for example, drones as in these days are available to the Nigerian Army, which can be deployed before they advance, those bandits or the Boko Haram ambush would have been detected and appropriate measure taken. Or as we fail, if on advancement, appropriate area cover is given to them, that situation also would have been avoided. So we urge the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, hasten the provision of those equipments that they feel or we feel is necessary in order to protect, enhance the operational capability and efficiency of the Nigerian armed forces, including police and other security agencies. And we also agreed, or the Senate has mandated the Joint Committee of Army, Air Force, Navy, Defense, Police, National Interior, all the committees that are security related, to invite the service chiefs and other related head of security agencies to interact and get adequate briefing again, which will now provide the Senate an inside information, especially as it relates to the challenges of the insurgency, banditry, and other forms of criminalities that remain unabated in the north, particularly northeast, north central, and northwest. So this was the basis of the first motion. So let me take on the second leg of my legislative activity today, and one of the momentous, moment in my history, in my stay in the National Assembly. This is the second one that matters dearly to me. First, I came here sometimes, I think 3 or 4 years back, and you gave me the necessary support for the bill I sponsored with my colleagues in total for the establishment of the Northeast Development Commission. That commission has now taken off. I feel, fulfilled, and I feel that at least I'll be able to do something historic in the National Assembly, even if I'm no longer around. At least that institution is there now and is functioning effectively, impactfully on the Northeast particularly. Then the second one is today's bill that has been passed also. That is for the establishment of the Nigerian Army University bill. This university, as you know, has already, and I explained last time when I came here, has already taken off with so many faculties and courses. But all that will not be effected if there is no law backing the establishment of the university. And even if they graduate students from that university, without the law backing it, that university's degree will be as good as any paper. But today, we have, made a significant step, and as I said, we are expecting that the House of Rep will concur to it, and Mr. President, being who he is, and the fact that the initial move to create that university came by the Federal Executive Council approval in 2018, I am thinking that Mr. President's accent to the bill will be automatic. And I think that is all I can say about that. I have talked about why the Army University and what it's all meant to be, so I don't think I can belabor you with that again. All I want to do now is to stand before you and answer any question.